So how do you use video to improve as a public speaker? The most overlooked, under-leveraged advantage for any public speaker is the opportunity to watch yourself on stage. But since we haven't successfully cloned humans yet, at least as far as I know, it's hard to sit in the audience while also speaking on stage. I've tried it, and frankly, the science is impossible. But thanks to video recordings, it is possible to see what your audience sees with fresh eyes. I call this watching your game film. Today I'm going to share with you what I learned from a former NFL player about how to watch game film, how that translates to improving as a public speaker, what most speakers get wrong when it comes to stage presence, and how to break down specific parts of your video recordings of your talks that will help you improve as a speaker. Hi, I'm Jon Cook, founder of Keynote Content, helping clarify your message so you can elevate your impact, income, and industry street cred while speaking from the stage. I spent the past 10 years working one-on-one with over 1,000 public speakers in more than 50 different industries. And what I discovered is that most speakers, they don't take the time to rewatch their talks at all. Many of them, they just rely on an event planner's feedback or about a speaker rating or about a side comment in the hall or even worse, what their gut tells them. Was it good speech? Good speech? I feel like it was a pretty good speech. That's a huge mistake. Just rely on that approach. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Jon, I've watched a video of my talks. It's not that hard. It's not rocket surgery to watch a talk and watch a video of a talk. I'll just get a recording, I'll hit the play, and just see what jumps out to me. So have you ever watched an NFL game sitting next to a professional athlete who used to get paid millions of dollars to play on that same field with that same team? It's an incredible experience. I remember the first time I watched a Monday Night Football game with a guy who used to play in the NFL. And I thought I knew football. I mean, I geek out on much of the terminology, the schemes, the play calling, but I was not prepared for how detailed and specific his perspective is. He was calling out blitz coverages, he's predicting plays before they happen, he was making in-game decisions as if he was the head coach, and he was right. That experience, sitting and watching that game with him, that completely changed how I saw the game of football and also how I approach watching videos with speakers. So how did he get so good at breaking down what he's seeing? He played the game, but he also watched game film every single day as a player. That's what I would love to give you just a taste of when it comes to reviewing your own game film as a public speaker. But before you hit record, you watch your old talk, you end up weeping in the corner like that one time at band camp that we just don't talk about. Before you do that, I want you to know what to watch for so you get the most out of your recording, that you make the best improvements and you do an unbelievable job with your next speaking opportunity. I want to show you what to watch for. When reviewing your talk as a speaker, the first thing that you need to do is get a transcript of your talk. Leave in all the filler words. Make sure the transcript says exactly what you said in that talk. And make sure that your transcript is also time-stamped. Then you grab a highlighter, you go through and you mark all the times inside your transcript where you said the filler words. And you're like, wait, Jon, I'm a professional speaker. I know not to say these filler words. Go through with your highlighter and you might be surprised how often you still use some type of filler word, not necessarily or maybe it's so or well or then and because of that, and those are also types of filler words. And when you've done that, you've marked through with your highlighter all through that transcript. After that, grab your favorite snack, sit down with your transcript right in front of you so you can kind of read along as needed and hit play. I will say, if you're watching on a TV, keep that remote closed because you want to rewind, fast forward, pause, all of that. Keep that remote closed. As you watch your game film, listen for any parts of your content that seem clunky. Again, this first part is emphasizing content flow. Did a section kind of land awkwardly with your audience? Does it sound not quite right? Make a note of that in the section in your transcript. And you want to go back and revisit that section saying, do I need to move it to another place? Because it's currently interrupting the flow of my talk content. That's a concept you want to keep in mind as you review all of your talk content. How does the content flow from section to section to section? Did it have a good natural flow? Were there any awkward parts? Were there any weird transitions? Were there any gaps? Did you want to double down on a section even more? Keep that in mind. One part of a video recording that I see so many speakers overlook is how the event planner introduced you. If the event planner's on the stage, watch their face. The areas around their eyes, around their mouth, that can often tell you exactly what they think of you during the introduction. If the smile seems forced or frozen in any way, that might be a sign that you were maybe a pain in the butt to work with during the pre-event planning, or maybe they just didn't like interacting with you. If they have a bubbly expression or they have some type of an elevated pitch in their voice, that's usually a sign that they're just excited as you are to hear what you're going to say. Of course, that's no guarantee, so take that with a grain of salt. Force, a frozen smile, or maybe wider eyes that aren't bright, that could mean that they're stressed beyond belief about the event. Maybe they're looking forward to this relaxing weekend and they're saying, I just need to get through this. I just need to do this introduction, this on to the next thing. A bubbly personality, maybe it's just who they are, regardless of whoever you are. So just pay attention to their body language and listen to the exact words that the event planner used to introduce you. If you didn't give them some type of a written setup or some type of intro that you recommend or that you've approved, that's a missed opportunity. So that's something you can go back to and say, how exactly do I want event planners to introduce me to their audience? I'm not going to require it, but I'm going to give them an opportunity if they want to use that. So it takes one more thing off their mind. They can just read that and have total confidence before you even walk on stage. After an event planner introduces you, that next section about how you move on stage and how you position yourself, that is so key. There are entire libraries worth of books about body language and power poses, how to block and frame yourself as a presenter, and countless other details about how to move on stage. And you've heard about stage presence, but I largely dislike that term because it's usually framed as this blanket yay or nay detail. Does she have stage presence? Yay or nay? Was his stage presence good or not good? If it wasn't good, is that a general gut feeling that you have, or are there specific details that made someone's stage presence good or not good? That's why I break it down into more specific details. So how often have you seen a speaker just saunter on stage, or maybe just kind of like shrink or slink their way into the spotlight and kind of stand there, and only in the first few seconds, it's like they're positioned as if they want to apologize for even being on stage. You've seen that before. Start by looking at how you move onto stage. Start by looking at your initial body positioning. I call this your primary pose. How intentional are you in transitioning onto the stage? Are you moving with a purpose, or are you just kind of meandering up on stage without, I guess I'll talk, I don't know. I like walking on stage at 1.5 times my usual walking pace. What it does is it telegraphs to the audience, I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to share this next part with you. As you can tell, I'm a highly energetic guy, and I like translating that into how the audience perceives me. And moving quickly onto a stage, it also gives you a few extra seconds to then position yourself in a power stance. Wider feet, shoulders back, head held high, chin down, eyes bright. And as you watch your opening section, don't worry about your content just yet. As you're watching this film, focus on your entrance and your initial stance, that primary pose. How did you move onto the stage? What was your stance like right before you started speaking? Where did your eyes go when you first walked on stage? What were your hands doing? Were they in your pockets, or were they by your side? Were they swinging and whatever? Were your shoulders back? Or were they more rounded and sheepish? Were your hips, yes, let's talk about hips for speakers. Were your hips rotated inward or flexed flat and open to your audience? Then look for your feet. Were your toes pointed inward, straight, or outward? If they're inward, that's not a position of strength. That's setting yourself for a weaker first step when you go to move on stage. And how you position yourself on stage within those first few seconds, it is just as important as what you say in that same time frame. After you move on stage, we're going to look at 6, 30, and 90. Those are the first 6 seconds, 30 seconds, and 90 seconds after you start making any type of noise. Whether it's a word or a sound, your primary pose, it's about entering and positioning yourself on stage before you even say anything. But that first word or even that first sound, it starts the subconscious stopwatch in your audience's minds. You have less than 6 seconds, sometimes only 1 or 2 seconds to keep their attention. You have then 30 seconds to confirm in their mind that you're compelling enough to invest even more attention. And you have around 90 seconds to communicate to your audience that they're in the right place, that what you're saying is interesting and relevant to them, and you know what matters to their mind. Whoa, John, are you saying I need to do all that in the first 6, 30, and 90 seconds? The long and the short answer is yes. They need reason to believe what you're saying, or you will lose your audience. That's why I recommend writing out your opening 90 seconds for any talk. That doesn't mean you have to script your whole talk, but at least have a clear idea of precisely what you want to say for that first 90 seconds. It is not uncommon for me to spend a significant amount of time critiquing the first 90 seconds of a talk. Now I'm going to share with you a secret that very few speaker coaches talk about, if any at all. If you can get a recording of your audience's faces for your entire talk, that's gold. What are their faces telling you during each part of your talk? What's their body language telling you? Where's their attention going? Are they leaning in during the most emotional parts? How sincere are their laughs? You can tell if it's a fake laugh or a sincere laugh. Even if you can't see their faces, your audience engagement is more than just confirming that they laughed, that they responded at the right times. If you have a wide angle shot, see if you can see patterns in their reactions. Did people lean in when you started telling a more emotional story? Did a good amount of heads just start nodding when you shared a powerful truth? If you did a call and response, or you asked your audience to finish this famous quote, did they participate well? If you had to determine how well you did as a speaker by just watching their reaction, is it obvious that you did well? Audience engagement is a massive goldmine, and unfortunately, a lot of speakers just assume that they can recognize that they understand what they're saying, and that is a huge mistake. One key detail about reviewing your film as a speaker is your vocal variance. Now, something you probably don't know about me is that one of my degrees is in vocal performance. I double majored in therapeutic care and counseling and also in music with an emphasis in vocal performance. Studying vocal performance taught me why some speakers are hoarse after only a few minutes of just raising the voice for an audience. And then other speakers, I learned how they can go for days and days with little to no sign of strain. We have to recognize that you as a speaker have an instrument. Your voice is a muscle and an instrument, and as such, it needs to be treated as both. So let's say that you wake up first thing in the morning, you roll out of bed, and immediately you try to do your personal record in a deadlift. You will hurt yourself. Your body isn't fully awake yet. Your blood isn't flowing, it's not at the proper rate, it's not fueling the muscle fibers at the level that you're demanding of those muscles. Your oxygen isn't saturating these essential regions that help your body deliver those results that you want. And the same is true for your voice as a speaker. When was the last time you did some type of vocal warm-up before speaking? Let's say you spoke for an hour on stage, did you warm up at all? I'm not saying you have to do these warm-up scales and do the tra-la-las and all that, but it's worth doing at least a few minutes of humming, vocal notes, and stretching your jaw, your face, your tongue, and your chin. Yes, stretch your chin. There are ways to do that. And what this does is it warms up all of the muscles and mechanisms connected to your voice. That approach will help keep your voice nice and strong and supported, but let's take a look at the variance in your voice. How dynamic was your voice throughout your talk? How deliberate was your pacing? How well did you support your voice with great breath control as you picked up the energy or when you slowed down? Vocal variance makes a huge difference, because I could tell you about the time my son almost died in the hospital from this autoimmune response. That's a 1 in a 1.3 million likelihood of ever happening. And if I have a high energy voice, it doesn't fit the context, does it? Even if I spoke with my normal speaking voice, it's still impactful, but not quite as much as when I lower my voice. I bypass that middle passaggio into my chest voice. I let abdominal breathing carry the full weight of my voice with ease and comfort. And I naturally talk with you about how I held my 3-year-old son Nolan in my arms as he had 19 different tubes and wires, monitors, IVs, and God knows what else sticking out of him. It feels different when I tell you in this voice that I prayed with everything inside me for God to heal my son. And my voice can carry up into my register, into my middle voice, as I share with incredible gratitude that Nolan made a full recovery. He's doing fantastic right now, and we get to make memories together every single day. That variance gave you an experience with that story. Does your voice carry that much variance throughout your talk? Or is it barely more than a monotone and kind of sounds very boring? As you review your game film, make a note of where you can vary your voice even more. Where can you change registers between your head voice, your middle voice, and your chest voice to convey your ideas better? Now, I could keep going on and on and on about what else to use when rewatching your talks, but start with those principles and let me know in the comments what has worked for you. What have you done in the past? What are some of the ideas that I shared that you want to implement for yourself? I'm going to be creating more videos about how to break down your game film as a public speaker. And if you like what I shared today, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe to catch more of my videos about elevating your impact and income as a coach, consultant, or advisor through public speaking. And one of the biggest questions I get asked by speakers of all experience levels is, how do I create a profitable, powerful signature talk? I created a video walking you through the exact process that I developed working with over 1,000 speakers. This is my exact step-by-step process for creating your next signature talk from a blank page to applause on stage. Hit play on this next video, and I'll see you there.